Hi, I'm Rob Lynch. I'm going to show you how to paint your pet at home with the supplies that I ship to you in your kit. The supplies included are a printed sketch of your pet or pets, a set of watercolor inks that match your pets, 2 different sized paintbrushes, a brush pen, and a piece of scrap paper. You should also get a paper towel and a cup of water for cleaning your brushes. And make sure you're working on a surface that you don't mind getting a little messy. The first step will be to trace your sketch with the brush pen. I recommend practicing first on the scrap paper to get a feel for the pen. If you push lightly, you'll get a thin line. If you push hard, you'll get a thick line, or you can get anything in between. You can also create tapered lines by changing the pressure on the pen as you are drawing a line. As you are tracing the sketch, it's up to you how thick or thin you go with the lines. I tend to go thicker on the outsides of the pets and thinner on details and features. You are welcome to change or add things to your drawing that are not in my sketch, but just know that if you don't cover the printed lines, they may show through at the end when you're done painting. After you are done doing the line work, you can start painting. The paints included in the kit are called watercolor inks. They come with a strip of color on paper so you can see what the colors look like when they are on the paper and dry. They tend to look a lot different in the paint pots. That is because they are transparent colors. Look at the colors you have and decide where on your pet you should paint each color. It may help to have a reference image of your pet pulled up on your phone or computer. The first time you open up one of your colors, make sure to mix it up with your paintbrush. Sometimes the pigments separate or settle from the water, and this ensures that the colors will be accurate. I'm going to show you a few different techniques as I paint my 2 pets, Ernie and Zip. You want to paint one color at a time in different sections, so choose where you want to start. There are 2 main ways that I use these inks. The first is very straightforward. Just dip your brush in the ink and start painting the section you want to paint. The main thing you want to do is finish the section before the ink dries. If you paint just part of a section and come back to it after it's dried, you may get unwanted effects like darker areas and overlapping textures. So to avoid this, just keep painting the section until you have finished. The other way that I tend to use these inks is to put water on the section that I want to paint, and then add the color afterwards. This will slow down the drying time of the ink, which gives you a few more minutes to work with it before it dries. It can also help to spread a single color around a bigger section. This is great for pets that are all one color, especially if it is a darker color like black. It's also a great technique for the background because you have a larger area to cover with one color. First, just get some water on your brush and brush the water on the paper of the area you want to paint. Then get the color you want on your brush and paint the ink in the same area. You can see how the ink spreads where the water is. You still want to finish the section before the ink dries, but you'll have a few more minutes to work with it. Another important step to follow is to let the ink dry before you paint anything next to it. As you can see, I painted Ernie's face, but then painted Zip before going over to Ernie's ears. If I were to paint the ears immediately after painting the face, and I accidentally touched the ear color onto the face, then the ear color would start spreading into the face. The best way to avoid this is to let the ink dry before you do any adjacent sections. As I continue my painting, I'm going to use a few more techniques that you may or may not want to use with your painting. With these kind of inks, you can layer them on top of each other. Ernie has a lighter brown mask around his cheeks, eyes, and forehead. I didn't want to put the brown directly on the paper because I thought it would be too dark, and I wanted the edges to be a little softer. To achieve this effect, I first painted some water, and then added little bits of brown to the darkest areas of his face. Then I used a clean brush to feather the brown around the paper where I needed it to go. I did this a couple times to create darker areas over the lighter brown areas, and to create more dimension with his markings. I did the same with Zip, but only using more gray. I also added some shading to his ears and muzzle without using water first. This is just the brown on top of itself. My painting has a lot of colors because I decided to paint my pets as Ernie and Bert from Sesame Street. Yours may or may not be as complicated. For my background, I am using the water first technique and then adding my ink over it. Finally, I added a little bit of gray to the sweaters to give them some shading. And now my painting is done. If you have any questions that weren't addressed in this video, feel free to email me at robertpatricklynch@gmail.com. Thank you for painting with me today.